Hi, Neel. Thank you so much for joining me on the Foghorn Podcast. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you, Jasmine. Lovely to be here as well.
And what would you like to share with us today?
Uh, I can talk about many things, but I can talk a bit about how my teenage was, how my schooling was, and how the overall experience was. And I can also talk about the experience I'm going through right now currently.
Yes, that sounds really
So,
good and relevant, I think, the experience you're going through now. Yeah.
yeah, I'm 23 years old, turning 24 in 2 months. And I'm currently in Dubai. I'm visiting my parents.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start with how my education was. So again, I'm Neel Srivastav. I'm from Mumbai, India, and currently in Dubai visiting my parents. So I was born and raised in Mumbai. All of my education, my schooling, my high school, all of that was in Mumbai. Although I did my undergraduation from Chennai, it's another city in India down south,
Yeah.
as I wanted to pursue engineering
Mm.
and the field that I wanted to do was do engineering in was mechatronics, and that's the school in Chennai was decent enough, was good enough for that, so that's why I went there. And it's always a good experience to step out of your house, be out of your comfort zone, because as I mentioned, I was born and raised in Mumbai,
Yeah.
so from my birth till the age of 18 to 19 years, I was I was living with my parents, all the comfort that I had, staying rent free, having food to your order,
Wow.
in your lovely home food that your mother cooks, the comfort of that, and having minimal responsibilities to yourself. So when I went to Chennai, when I decided to go to Chennai, which is like a 3 hour flight from Mumbai, 2.5 hour flight from Mumbai. So
Yeah.
that's when it really struck me that, oh, that's going to be some real responsibilities for you, because you're going to be out of your comfort zone. And it's not easy. It depends on person to person. It was really difficult for me. I used to get homesick. And when the first time when you learn to manage your expenses, which is your rents, your
It's a
bills, your
lot.
food,
Yeah.
your groceries, and that's how you learn new things.
How did you
And
cope with this then? Because that sounds quite a big change as well. From being looked
uh,
after to suddenly being on your own. That's a big step, isn't it?
yeah, that's definitely a big step. I had my failures in that as well. Sometimes, so how do I say this? In I don't know. It's a Western culture to work part time. Manage your own expenses, at least your living expenses.
Yeah, it
But
can
in
be.
India, that's kind of difficult to do, because I believe, I mean, the few reasons there, from a different perspective, there could be other reasons as well. But the reasons I feel is one, the society. In India, the society judges you a lot.
Right.
Whatever you do, they, well, I don't want to go too extreme because it's person to person, but in a
Sure.
generic view, the society doesn't respect your privacy. Whatever step you take, there are always people to judge you and comment on you for doing that.
People you know or
So,
people you don't know?
uh, I mean, it depends. People I know, and
Hmm.
sometimes people you don't know as well. Like, if I live in an apartment, I in Mumbai, I used to live in an apartment, okay?
Yeah.
And if I do something, suppose I do some action XYZ, and there'll be people talking about it, and there'll be people talking about it, people who I know would be talking about it, and people who I don't know would also be talking about it, because it could be a good gossip topic about them to just talk about. So people will always kind of interfere with your privacy, and they'll always talk about it. So coming back to my example of doing a part-time job,
Yeah.
if I wanted to do a part-time job, this is reason one, okay? The society judging you. If I wanted to do a part-time job, people would talk about, oh, look at Neil, he's doing a part-time job, and look at his father, he's unable to provide for his education and for his living. So that's one thing, that society will kind of want you to come down. They'll say things like, Neil's parents cannot provide for his education or his basic necessities, that he
Wow.
has to do part-time. So, kind of creates a negative image
Sure.
of yourself in the society. That's one thing. And the second thing is there are not much part-time opportunities in India because the population is so much. It's kind of huge. It's a huge population. It's about 1.3 billion or something,
Wow.
round figure. So, in Western, I'm giving an example of Western countries because an Indian culture is always compared to Western culture a lot. So, uh, for example, a person wants to do a part-time job at McDonald's, for example. Now, if I approach the manager of McDonald's, since the population is a lot, there'll already be a full-time employee working at McDonald's. So the manager would be like, why do I give you a part-time job when I have a full-time employee to myself? So that's just another reason that
Wow.
part-time jobs are not that easy to be
It's
done
not
in India.
encouraged. It's not really encouraged.
It's not encouraged. It's not easy to get. I mean, of course, if you try your best, you can always start your own business and stuff, but that's something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming to not doing part-time job, although I was away from my house, but I used to get a monthly amount of money from my father, and using that, I had to manage my own expenses. So it was like, a certain amount of money in that I had to manage my groceries, my bills, my own fun and
Budgets.
entertainment and
You had
other
to learn to
miscellaneous stuff.
budget. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when I really learned to do how my really learn on how do I do my budget and my expenses. That's one of the positive things that I learned out of staying away from home. And
Financially
and
independent. Yeah.
of course I used to fail a lot in those days because in terms of the budget, because there were like the month is ending, 10 days left, and I'm completely out of money. uh, Last week of the month, I used to call my father and like get a good, nice lecture on how to manage my budget. So my father and my elder sister, I have an elder sister as well. She's around 6 years elder to me. They've always guided me and helped me on how to do my budget. So I
How
think
did
I'm pretty
they
confident.
how did they help you? Like what helped you manage your finances?
You know, they always, one thing they always used to tell me to learn from your past experience. Like, suppose the month of January, I ended up spending all my money. Now the month of February starts. So they wanted me to back calculate that where exactly did you end up spending a lot? Where can you stop? What can you do? Kind of make me realize where I was wasting money.
Mm,
Segregate money
yeah.
in terms of where I was wasting it and where it was needed for me. Like bills, food, groceries, these are some things needed for me. But
Priorities.
continuously eating outside or buying expensive things for yourself, accessories as well. You can do that, but there should be a certain capping to it, a certain cap to it on how you manage that. So that's one thing. And they always encouraged me on doing savings, even though he was giving me a sum of money, but they always encouraged me to save for that. So
Wow.
apparently there's a set rule that save 30% of your salary every month. At least do that. The moment you get your salary, just keep that 30% aside, and just tell yourself that okay, rest 70% is what I'm getting, and that's how I have to manage my
Mm,
uh,
wow, that sounds a good
budget.
plan.
Or
Mm.
yeah, so they always encourage me with that. And eventually when I started working, I started getting my own salary. Always tried to do that, and right now I feel it's, those
So
savings have
sorry,
gotten me to a
you,
comfortable situation.
sorry. So
Yeah,
you did work in India then?
I did
Oh, so you
I
did
did
get the
I'll come to
part-time
that.
job. Okay, okay.
No, a full-time job after my
Oh,
graduation.
I see. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so that's different. So you wouldn't have been as judged for that.
No, no.
Ah, okay, okay.
What I'm trying to say, when I was away from my house, out of my comfort zone, I got the opportunity to learn and manage my own budget. Hence, I was much comfortable doing it when I was earning my own salary.
Wow. So yeah, you took
Yeah,
the steps.
yeah. So that was one thing, but
Okay.
and again, staying away from house was kind of difficult. It's you're in a new environment. It's It's difficult to make new friends, have a family away from your family. And I feel, I mean, human beings are very social, so we need someone by our side, probably to guide us, to influence us, or just someone to talk to. So that
Exactly.
was something I learned as well, making new friends, of course.
And
So yeah, that was, yeah.
no, that sounds very interesting. And what you were saying about, do you want to talk about what you're going through now? Because I think this situation, what you're going through now, I can imagine there's a gazillion other people
Yeah,
going through the same situation. So tell us.
definitely. Yeah. So, okay, where do I start from? All right. So when I was doing my engineering in my undergraduate, um, I was fortunate enough to get this opportunity of a student exchange program. So I went to Australia, I went to Sydney, and I went there for a semester. I was there for like 5 to 6 months, and the tuition fee, everything was paid for because it was an exchange program. And I think it was a wonderful experience for me. And as I was able to get that international exposure and see how different Sydney was from Mumbai or Chennai or
Mm.
India overall. And to be honest, I completely loved it over there. I think it was
Wow, did
perfect for
you?
me. Yes, I did. And it was completely perfect for me. And the whole culture of the city. One, it's very multicultural. Sydney
Mm.
itself is very multicultural. That's a good thing. It's got a huge diversity to itself, and the beaches are beautiful, of course,
Yeah.
and the people are there are lovely, and the whole lifestyle, I believe, was something I was very comfortable with. So that's when I decided that, oh, I gotta be here.
Really,
I'd love
really.
to, I'd love to go there and build my life over there. I think I
Okay.
found it really perfect for me because, in India, I think struggle is always there, but in India, it's a lot. As I mentioned, there's a lot of competition, the population is a lot, and the struggle is always there. It's difficult to have uh, a balance between your work and your personal life in India. Whereas I think Sydney was one of the places I found the balance would be there. Of course, there are many other better countries according to some data or some census, but for me, personally, Sydney was perfect for me,
Felt right.
and that's
Yeah.
when I thought that I'd love to pursue my further studies from there, and eventually, if I can get to live there for a few years, and
So,
experience
yeah.
the whole culture.
Great. So
So
that happened, and then what? So how did that lead to
yeah,
where you are now?
I am coming to that, and I'm sorry, I end up saying a lot of
No,
stories,
no, it's
and
fine. No, it's fine.
but I'm coming to the main point. Okay, so as I mentioned, my dream for Sydney, and I really wanted to be there. So after completing my graduation, I got placed in a company called Larsen and Toubro, and I was in the defense vertical. So I was handling all the defense equipments for the Indian government, and I was a senior engineer over there in the product
Wow.
development department. It's kind of a very interesting work, like the ones you see in sci-fi movies and all. But my mind was always, you know, I was working, I was enjoying the work, but my mind was always there that I got to be in Sydney. So I applied
Really?
for my,
Wow.
yeah, I applied for my master's, and I also got an admission over there. And everything said and done. February 2021 was when my course is supposed to start. But then, as everyone knows, COVID happened,
Oh no.
and the borders were sealed. I think I got my admission for Sydney somewhere around April 2020.
Oh, that long ago. Oh, okay.
And I'd already made sure that, okay, I'm going to work for this company for at least 1 year, gain that experience, and
Yeah.
by Feb 2021, I'm going to be there, do
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
master's
Yeah.
degree, get a job over there, and so on. So I had actually, I've never done this in my life because I'm kind of laid back about my decisions and everything. I'm kind of lazy, but this was one thing I really wanted to do. And hence I planned it perfectly for myself that, okay, I'm going to work these many years. and I'm gonna get an admission, go to Sydney at this time. So this was the first time I did something like this in my life, and I was actually very proud of myself at that time. So, but unfortunately, COVID happened, and all of the international borders got closed. And I think it was around March or April when the borders started closing. And at that time, the government had announced that, oh, it's just going to be a few weeks of lockdown, things get back in
Yeah.
control, reopen things. But as you know, I mean, everyone went through this phase that, oh, when are things going to get back to normal, when the things are going to get back to normal. And bang, it's almost 1 year, it's more than 1 year, and still things are not back to normal. Few countries have opened, but unfortunately, Australia still
So
hasn't opened their borders.
so how is this affecting you and your
Ye-
like
Yes. So,
being,
okay.
well-being?
So I think it was around October, when in around somewhere around mid 2020, my parents had shifted to Dubai because my father got a work opportunity over here. So they shifted to Dubai. And around October, what I had planned was, okay, I'll put down my papers in the company, October 2020. I'll put down my papers at the company I was working for. And my company has this rule, I think every company has a notice period.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So for my company, the notice period was for 3 months. Yeah, that's a lot. And if
Mm.
I leave before that, I have to pay a certain amount of penalty. So I decided, okay, I'll put down my papers somewhere near October and get free by around December, somewhere near December, spend some time with my family and fly to Sydney from here. Because I was planning to go abroad to Australia, and I don't know when I'll get to meet my parents as well.
Sure, sure, sure.
So yeah, so I really wanted to come to Dubai, spend some time with them, and fly off to Sydney from here. So I put down my papers, I resigned, I came to my parents. I'm currently over here. As I mentioned, I'm currently in Dubai. And unfortunately, the Australian borders still haven't opened up yet. So I'm
Uh,
in a situation where I've resigned and I can't even study. So you could
Oh
say
no.
I'm unemployed right now. I have nothing to do. I mean, also I can do many things, but currently I have
Yes,
nothing to
yes.
do for myself. And I'm just waiting for the borders to open.
And how is that affecting your day-to-day sort of, or just
You know,
well-being and feeling? Yeah.
okay. So, um, there's this one particular thing that eats me a lot is, as I mentioned, when I was in my university doing my undergraduation, I was still dependent on my father. And when I started working, I was finally independent. This is what I'm speaking financially. I was financially independent. I could manage my own expenses and everything. And as I mentioned, the 30% saving rule, I was trying to
Yes,
follow
yeah.
that as well. So I was quite comfortable, and I had a set plan in my mind. Okay, by December, I'm going to Dubai. With the savings I have, I can manage my expenses in Dubai,
Yeah.
not be dependent on my parents financially. But then that's what I had planned. But due to COVID, everything went haywire. So currently, I'm in Dubai. I can no more financially support myself, and I'm back to being dependent on my parents.
Mm.
Although they're amazing, they're lovely, and they don't even hesitate to do anything for me.
Yeah.
And they're definitely not uncomfortable supporting me. But there's this one feeling. I think it's in my conscious or something that I'm 23. I'm almost turning 24, and I'm still dependent on my parents. And
That's what you're thinking.
although
You're still dependent on them. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's no, they're completely fine with it. They don't mind giving me money for whatever I need. But going from the phase of being dependent to
Yes.
independent and then back to
Yeah.
dependent,
You had a
it's
taste of independence. You had a taste of independence. You learned the struggles to get to that
exactly,
stage. You felt the independence, and then it's kind of been taken away from you again. but not,
Exactly.
I guess it's not your fault though, is it? You know, it's
I
a
know it's not my
pandemic.
fault.
It's a crazy
None of
pandemic.
the nothing of this has been in our hands. It's not in our control. But it's the whole situation that
Yes.
matters. For me personally, it's lovely to be with my parents, spend time with them, but again, being dependent on them, it doesn't make me feel that comfortable anymore. It
Yes.
kind of you feel ashamed that only you're 24 and you're still here and you had something planned for yourself, but that's not working out.
So
So yeah.
how, no, I can understand totally. So how are you dealing with this?
Okay.
Like,
So how am I dealing with this? I am vigorously searching for internship opportunities um what do I say, some freelancing work.
yeah.
But I'm still on my visit visa, I'm on my tourist visa, and legally I can't do any of these things. And my father is trying to get a work visa for me. Let's hope that works out and I can actually search for some jobs. And free time can always be used to work on your skills. So there are a lot of online courses that I keep
Yeah.
on doing, which helps me,
Any in particular?
like,
Can you name a few just in case anybody's listening that might help
yeah,
them?
sure. So
Like, what's the
I'm planning
website?
for my master's in the field of analytics. Okay, so it's always it's kind of a change of field for me. I did my engineering in mechatronics. It's more of a mechanical and electronic and system
Yeah.
designing thing.
Well, what's the
Whereas
course? Yeah. But what's the online courses? Like, how do you get access to those? The website?
okay, yeah. So there are a lot of online courses like the ones which I use are Udemy, Udemy, and
Okay.
Coursera.
Okay.
So Udemy, these have online courses from really good institutes abroad, lots of them.
Yeah.
And Udemy is usually cheap. So the courses
Okay.
there are cheap. In Coursera, the courses are expensive. They're really good courses, but expensive.
Mm.
But on Coursera, you can actually get a financial aid. You
Okay.
can
Okay.
fill this
I guess they can
application.
look. Teens can
Yeah,
look. They can look at that themselves. But
exactly.
how has it helped you doing these courses? Like,
Okay, so for example, I'll get to specifics. That's all right.
yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm planning to pursue my master's in analytics. And analytics has a lot of studies related to statistics, probability, and it's always good to know coding languages like Python, R, or SQL.
Mm.
And since I've done my engineering, I'm kind of comfortable with statistics and probability. That's a bit of
Okay.
mathematics.
Okay. Okay.
So,
But how is but so but how has developing yourself helped your confidence and feeling
okay. So
before? Yeah.
I'm still doing these courses. I'm trying to learn more of coding languages like Python, R, or SQL, as I mentioned. And I know my master's is going to be in this field. So, this gap that I've gotten, these few months, 6 months of gap, I'm not working and I'm not also pursuing my master's.
Yes.
I know that if I do these courses in this gap, this will really help me build a foundation for the masters I pursue.
Mm.
Eventually over there, I'll be
Sure. Sure.
getting
Sure. It's
introduced to
preparing
new
you. It's
courses.
preparing you. But,
I'm self-preparing myself. So I would say this is the only positive outcome I've taken of this pandemic is I've gotten time to kind of build a foundation for myself.
right. And is that in turn helping you with feeling just better about yourself in general? Because you're
Yes,
developing yourself, so it's helping
yes,
you feel better.
definitely.
Is
And also,
yeah.
I think one of the things, so I play a lot of tennis. I'm very passionate about playing tennis.
Sports. Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I found few people over here. They do enjoy playing tennis as well. Made new friends through that. That's really good.
Brilliant. And
And
how did you find out about the tennis? Because that could be something useful as well to help others, because social exercise.
definitely. So you mean how did I find people playing tennis over
How
here?
did you
Is that
find the tennis group? Like, where did you
okay?
find
Yeah,
that group?
yeah. So when I landed to Dubai, and I've always been I love playing sports, and tennis is something I'm passionate about. So wherever I go, I always carry my tennis racket.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I was with my racket, but I didn't have a partner to play with. So I have an uncle who stays over here, very close to me. He recommended me this application known as Meetup.
Ah, meetup. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's great.
So
Okay.
yeah, I registered over there, and I got to know a few people through that. I played tennis with them, and apart
Brilliant.
from that, I think social media has also helped a lot because so in Dubai, I live in this area known as the Greens, and the Greens has its own Facebook page. So
Right.
I joined the Facebook page, and I just put up a comment stating that I'm new here. I love playing tennis. Is there anyone willing to
Brilliant.
play with? We could go along. And
Brilliant.
within a day, within 24 hours, I had like 10 to 15 comments and likes and messages.
Wow. So you put
So
yourself
I think
out
so.
there, basically. You put yourself out there.
Yeah, you could put it in that way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I did.
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And what
And
oh, sorry. Yeah.
no, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
I
no.
was saying, I'll tell you how putting myself out there has kind of helped me. One, I have, I got to meet new people. I got to play tennis with them. It's always good to socialize, increase your networking. Secondly, since I told you I've been playing tennis since my childhood, I think I didn't mention that, but I've been playing tennis since my childhood.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So I was, one of the players I met, I was kind of teaching them, I was telling them basics. And she told me that it was wonderful getting to know the basics from you, and you should start coaching over here. So that's one of the ideas she gave me. And I think I can always start coaching people over here because I remember, what she mentioned was that she had gone to few other coaches where she paid like a good sum of money to them, and she didn't learn much, but what she learned through me was something really good, and
Wow.
she
That's
encouraged
amazing.
me a lot to go for coaching.
That's
So
amazing.
something what I was complaining about being financially dependent on my parents, that's one of the ways I can get out of it.
That's
Getting myself
great.
out there. Facebook has gotten me to a position where I think I can probably
Exactly. So putting
earn a bit
yourself
of money.
out there has led
Yeah.
to lots of things. And before we go, what message or advice would you give to students who are in a similar situation to you now? Because I'm sure there's many.
Oh, and advice from me. Hmm. It's the
Like
first time
what's
someone is asking me for an
like
advice.
what's helped you?
Okay. So, one thing I've learned is, you know, whatever you plan, it's not always true that it'll go 100% according to what you've planned. So you got to learn to be dynamic, and you're definitely going to face challenges. And one thing I've learned is, if something negative has happened to you which has hindered your plan, there's no point regretting on it, because these things are just not in your hands. For example, COVID happened, COVID was not in my hands. It ruined my plans of going to Australia currently. So this is the situation I am in, and I got to work towards it, be dynamic towards it, and just stop regretting and look at the positives out of it.
Mm. And
I
act.
was
It
and
sounds like
act
you're
towards it
taking action. Yeah.
and take action towards it. I was so disheartened knowing that Australia is not happening for me. I have no job. But as I mentioned, the few positives as I've gotten time to work on my skills base, make a good foundation out of it. And I've gotten to meet so many new people, and I've made
Wow.
new friends. If I've just directly flown to Australia, I might have not made those friends that I met. So, you know, there's this really funny quote. it always makes me laugh. It says that when life gives you lemons, make lemonade out of it.
Yeah.
So, there's
That's
going to be a
life.
lot of obstacles, a lot of negative things coming towards you, but just look at the positive part of it and be optimistic about it.
And there's always something you can do to make it better. It sounds like you're saying as
Definitely.
well.
You can always make something good out of the worst situations as well.
Wow, that's a great piece of advice. Thank you so much, Neel, for
Thank you
coming
so
on the Foghorn Podcast. I'm sure many students will benefit from listening to what you've been talking about today. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you soon.
See you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.